It's time for Wretched Radio with Todd Friel.
This is an open letter to all Christian men everywhere. This is Wretched Radio. Don't give me that deep sigh business, Tony. This is serious business. What are you leaking?
I am so tired of open letters to anyone.
Well, this one is needed, Pally boy. And if you think this isn't substantiated, well,
Hang on. Oi.
Don't ask me for actual stats, but here comes the open letter. Dear Christian males of the more progressive stripe, perhaps the red letter type, perhaps the neo-reform type.
Perhaps all of Elka.
It's below, definitely Elka, it's definitely below the nature and the character and the quality of life a Christian male should be living. And he's beating his wife. You must stop beating your wives. This is a systemic problem, and it is not how a Christian male should be living. So please stop beating your wives. This cannot be tolerated. This is a gospel issue. This is a gospel issue, and I'm going to say it again because they do. This is a gospel issue. Stop beating your women. Now, if you happen to be in the neo-reform camp, the red letter Christian camp, anybody who has now recently taken up the flag of social justice Christianity, how you feeling about that? Well, welcome to the club, because I have to confess to you that is exactly how I am feeling today. Now, you will say in response to that, I just don't realize that I'm being racist, because that is what I am getting called every day, it seems, that we conservative Christians, male or female, we are simply not woke. We do not understand the institutional racism that exists in this country. And even by eating a meal with my family, I'm participating in a racist structure. Therefore, I'm actually being racist even while I eat barbecued food, because that's the way the structure was set up by white Christian European males. And by participating in that system, I am actually participating in racism, even though I'm not even aware of it. So I would say back to you, I know you don't think that you're beating your wives, but you are. You are. You're beating your wife. Now, I realize you're not woke to that knowledge, but you need to understand, liberal people, they beat their wives more. Therefore, you beat your wife. You don't even realize it. So you need to stop beating your wife. I think you'd be a little bit annoyed. And I have to confess, that's where I am. Look, I don't know of a genuine born-again believer who doesn't want their sin pointed out. It's painful sometimes to hear, but nevertheless, the true believer wants to. Like, if I were being racist, I would like to know it to deal with it, because I don't want to be sinning. But short of somebody who is maybe just entirely oblivious, and it hasn't been pointed out to them, I don't know of any conservative Christians who want to be racist. It's just that we're tired of being called racist simply because we woke up this morning and we're breathing air. See, to be racist these days, it doesn't mean that you walk around the streets of your town with a sign saying, I hate black people, I hate Asians, whatever it is. No, you just need to be living as a white person, and you are racist. And I have to tell you, this is kind of becoming a little bit maddening to a degree. Like, stop telling me that I'm doing this, and I'm just ignorant that I'm even doing this, because you have concluded that the system is set up against you. Now, this is a conversation that I think we had probably 2 years ago here on Wretched Radio. I think we need to understand cultures, because as much as the issue of race inside of the church is a theological conversation, these days these days, it is also a sociological conversation. I'm reading a book. It's a drubbing, but I'm reading a book, The Racial Divide in the Church, a book that came out about a dozen years ago. And its premise is that the systems of our country are built to keep black people down. That's the way the systems are designed, because they were designed by white European Christian males. Now, look, if that's the case, we need to be willing to say, hey, you're right, we don't want that. We don't want unjust scales. We want people to be treated fairly. Of course we want to change that. But here's the question. Just because the infrastructure of this country was indeed built by white Christian European males, does that automatically make it racist? I don't think you can make that conclusion. I don't think that you can, any more than I would say that if, for instance, in an African nation, if a predominantly black country, they had their motif of what made up their culture, I couldn't automatically say, well, that's just to keep any white people down. Couldn't say that. No. Could that have been in their hearts? I guess. I don't know how to prove that. I don't know how to reveal that. But just because a particular skin color built a society, that does not mean that it's automatically racist. And I think historically in the country of America, you could make the case that, yes, there's absolutely been racism. There's no question about it. But at the same time, with our borders welcoming people of all different skin colors, all different nationalities, we're a melting pot. There's got to be some divergence instead of all just white Christian European males. There must be some diversity involved. Otherwise, we wouldn't be melting together. And so I think that as we approach this issue and we have conversations with our Christian brothers and sisters about this, I really think not only does a theological conversation need to happen, a sociological discussion needs to take place. What is a culture? Because right now, what a large group of people increasingly want is a total dismantling of our current infrastructure. Let me introduce you to a group of people that are wanting to reclaim Jesus. The group of people that are involved in this movement of reclaimingjesus.org include the Bishop of the Global Alliance Interfaith Network, the National Baptist Convention, Columbia Theological Seminary, very liberal, Red Letter Christian, Tony Campolo. This is the Most Reverend Michael B. Curry. He's really reverend, apparently. In fact, he's the most reverend. Apparently, nobody else can have that title because I think you can only have one most, but I could be wrong about how these titles work. Michael Curry, he delivered the homily at the royal wedding. He's the presiding bishop and primate of the Episcopal Church. Another fellow from the Healing of the Nations Foundation, Union Theological Seminary, Reformed Church in America. Reverend Dr. Cynthia Hale, pastor of a church in Decatur, Georgia. Fair amount of women on here. Reverend Joel Hunter, faith community organizer and chairman. Cindy Lauper called. She'd like to sing a song to you, Dr. Joel. From the Wesleyan Church, the AME Church, the Methodist Episcopalian Church, Evangelicals for Social Action, Sojourners, Jim Wallace, you get the point. They want to reclaim Jesus. And they've got a faith statement that you can go to on their website, reclaimingjesus.org, and they make it very, very clear. This is their belief statement. Number one, so this is how they want to reclaim Jesus. You'd read reclaim Jesus, and it's like, okay, we want good theology. Now, we don't want Jesus besmirched with politics, you'd think. We believe every human being is made in God's image and likeness. That image and likeness confers a divinely decreed dignity, worth, and God-given equality to all of us as children of the one God who is the creator of all things. The hint of universalism there we'll just let go. Racial bigotry is a brutal denial of the image of God. So this is an organization that is about social justice, black liberation theology. So we reject the resurgence of white nationalism and racism in our nation on many fronts. We, as Jesus followers, must reject the use of racial bigotry. Okay, again, then, and Tony Campolo, stop beating your wife. All of you at the Reclaiming, stop beating your wives. Oh, these accusations. We believe we are one body. There should be no oppression based on race and gender. Again, name a born-again believer who thinks that. I'm looking for one. Put him on a poster and start throwing darts at him, but quit throwing them at me and everybody else. Who doesn't? Seriously, what born-again believer wants to have any sort of racist thoughts or keep women pregnant, barefoot, and in the kitchen? Come on. Misogyny, mistreatment, violent abuse, sexual harassment, we reject that. And we don't? Dr. Campolo, we don't? And yet we still have not heard the punchline from Reclaiming Jesus next on Wretched Radio. Don't forget, if you would like to hear the entire daily broadcast, simply visit wretched.org, go to iTunes, figure out your favorite Android listening platform, and you can listen to the entire program every single day, downloaded to your listening device for free. Well, thanks to our monthly supporters called the Gospel Partners. If you'd like to partner with us, we'd be very, very grateful. Simply visit wretched.org.